we got two popular midfield assets coming back this week, probably. KDB and Ziyech. Are either of them going into your team? C4, why don't you start us off?
So I was debating earlier today whether or not I should bring Ziyech into my team for this week, but based on him just coming back from injury, I think I'm going to hold off on any midfield changes until I see some consistency there. But I have no thoughts of bringing in KDB in right now. In fact, like I mentioned earlier, I'm thinking about selling off a City midfielder in Sterling. So
you're just not feeling good about City at all right now?
If Aguero was there, then my sweetheart, I'd feel good about him. But, when they're struggling now in back-to-back games against Leeds and West Ham, it's concerning.
Yeah, it definitely is concerning. But at the end of the day, I feel like we got to remember that this is Manchester City we're talking about, and they've had the injuries to Aguero and to Jesus, and that's been annoying. But it's not like Liverpool, where it looks like Liverpool are kind of falling apart, and there's like really serious concern there. I just don't feel that same level of stress in that City.
I would argue that City looks lost in attack. Like
they have. Yeah.
I think that's a system and not injury. Like I think Cancelo, the play along the wings doesn't look as fluent and doesn't look like they know what they're doing, let alone worrying about you don't have the central figures to capitalize on it.
Right.
Cancelo's looked really good. Cancelo's looked really good playing off the side. He's gotten a couple of
there was a couple of moments last week where he had like questionable balls into the area. Like there was one time he could, but
I'm sure they're okay with that if he's grabbing assists the rest of the game.
Confirmation bias, yeah, happens the best of us. But definitely some concern for City. But I would say I'm bringing KDB back in this week. I took him out for the injury, but I'm probably gonna bring him back in. I don't feel awful about him. City definitely have slipped up, but I'm just trying to keep in mind this is still Pep. This is still Man City. There's still goals to be had. They don't seem to be crumbling as much as some people think. As for Ziyech, I'm not considering him at all. I would consider Christian Pulisic before him. They're in the same price range, and that's I would just consider Christian first. So that kind of just removes Ziyech for me. Gash, how about you? Bring in KDB or Ziyech?
As of right now, no. I have the one free transfer this week, so I'm gonna bank it and hold it off. So I have two next week. What I'll say about KDB is if I did have to own a City player right now, it would definitely be KDB. He had 2 assists in their game against Marseille in the Champions League midweek. So it just shows how important he is to the team. But I think the things holding me off are like C4 mentioned, no Aguero now for at least a couple of weeks. Jesus is still hurt for another week or two, so we're probably going to see Sterling and striker. And I don't trust Sterling's finishing too much. So I think KDB might necessarily still be creating the chances, but until they have a clinical finisher up top, I think I'm going to hold off. And they also play Liverpool at home and Spurs away in game weeks 8 and 9. So at 10 onward, maybe the players will start coming back from injury and the fixtures turn, so it might be a good combination. And then Ziyech, he did play 80 minutes, about 80 minutes in their Champions League game this week.
So just like Kevin, same situation as Kevin.
Yeah, right. So pretty much the whole game and just subbed off toward the end. The one thing I noticed is that he wasn't on corners. Chilwell was taking the corners. So I don't know if that's a short-term thing while he's still getting back to full fitness, or if that's going to be a long-term thing and they'd rather have Chilwell on the corners. So one of the attractive things about him was that he was supposed to be taking all their set pieces. But if he's not on those, then he's going to lose at least a couple of assists over the course of the season. I do agree with what you said that Pulisic he makes the entire Chelsea attack look sharper and more fluid. So if I can fit him in for that extra 0.4 or whatever it is right now, I would rather do that. But then it's a question of, do I have that extra 0.4 in my team, or should I just go with Ziyech? So I'm going to wait and see on both of those right now. Give him another week to develop and then kind of reassess.
I like your points about KDB not having the finishers right now. That's a big deal. He's most of his points come from assists and come from setting other people up. As far as Ziyech goes, I think that is going to be a long-term thing on the corners, because I don't see why his injury if he could play 80 minutes and run all around the pitch, I don't see why he wouldn't be able to take the corners.
So
I feel like that's unless they have some sort of like set piece things, like some trick plays or whatever that they've been working on, and he hasn't been in training enough to get comfortable with those. And I don't know if they do some special tactics on the set piece corners. I don't know. Maybe that's the only thing I could think of that might be holding him back for now. But I understand why you want to wait and see on both of them. That makes sense for sure. Tazz, how about you, bro?
Yeah, I mean, I'll quickly just summarize my opinion on KDB. I think, he's a great asset, but I would wait for 3 game weeks until City play their tough fixtures. I don't think these injuries are really an excuse for a team like Man City due to their just depth is crazy, and half of their team, half of their bench would be starters are the best players in any other team.
Absolutely.
But it does it is a little bit worrisome, seeing them struggle with these injuries. And I agree with Gash's point that KDB might be putting these balls, and Sterling, his finishing is not the best, so it's kind of might not return as many points. But if you do have Sterling, my opinion is I wouldn't transfer him out. I would keep him right now, because him playing a striker for these next 2 game weeks, he could return a couple points and be somewhat of, I guess, of a differential pick, but I'm pretty sure he's somewhat highly owned. And in terms of for Chelsea assets, looking in, if Ziyech, he played a full 80, and I believe that both Mason Mount and Pulisic were rested and came on during the 70th and 80th minute respectively in their Champions League match. So I wouldn't transfer in Ziyech just yet. I feel like there's Lampard's trying to bring him slowly into the team. I would definitely pick Pulisic over Ziyech, but especially he came in the 71st minute and scored a goal in the Champions League game. So kind of hopefully he just follows Timo Werner and scoring in the middle of the week, and then coming back on the weekend and scoring a goal for me. I would love that, having him on my team. But I think, in terms of that price, I would consider Pulisic the most, because I think he's the most explosive. But, Kai Havertz is somebody that kind of sliding under a lot of people's radars right now. He's returned, and not counting this 0-0 draw with Man United, he's returned attacking returns in the past 3 game weeks. So game weeks 3 to 5, he's returned. And he's only right now, I believe he's only 8.3% owned, so that's still pretty low at an 8.4 price. So he's only 0.1 million higher than Ziyech. Than Pulisic. So that's something I would also kind of consider. He kind of looks nailed on. I know at the beginning of the season he kind of looked terrible with 0 shots for the first 2 game weeks, and
he was playing between the center backs.
Yeah. But recently the whole Chelsea team just looked like they picked up their scoring abilities. But I would stick it with if budget was an option, I would definitely choose Timo Werner up top as a Chelsea asset. I feel like he's the best so far. I think he's hitting stride right now, and I believe he can go off for that 25 or 20 plus for sure goal season easily now.
20 plus goals in the Prem for sure? Or
yeah.
Overall? Wow.
In the Prem. I feel like he can do that. Somebody with his skills and the type of player he is.
That'd be nice. That's what I was kind of hoping for before the year, but I got scared by his opening couple games.